Hi, Jade.
Hello.
Welcome to PLT Behind Closed Doors.
Thank you.
So excited to have you here.
I'm glad to be back.
I've literally not seen you in ages.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
How long has it been?
Almost 2 years.
Is it 2 years?
Yeah, because last time
you had Ayla.
Ayla was about 6 months.
Oh my
and
God.
she's like 2 years, 3 months now.
And she's like full grown now. All right, she's not full grown. She's still a baby.
She's a bit of a teenager. Let's not lie. If you knew. She's cheeky.
Oh, we're going to talk about her a little bit later on, and I can't wait to get to know you a little better. But let's start with a little bit about you and your career and YouTube. When did you first start your YouTube channel, Jade?
I started my YouTube channel... Okay, so the first channel I started was when I was actually 13.
Was it?
Yeah. I know, a bit
I
weird,
didn't know
isn't
that.
it? Yeah, no one really knew. But I started this channel. The first YouTuber that I ever came across was a woman called Michelle Farn.
Okay.
Right, she was massive. She doesn't really do YouTube anymore.
Yeah.
Came across her, fell in love, and I kind of had a lot going on in school, had a lot going on in my home life, and YouTube was like my escape, like watching it. And I'd sit in the mirror and pretend to be a YouTuber. Like I'd like do my makeup, still whatever, makeup from whoever.
Yeah.
And be like, hi guys, so now I'm going to do my eyeliner, talking to myself in the mirror. But I started at 13. People found out, weren't very nice about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that like school friends?
School people, yeah. And then I just shut down the channel, started again at 18.
Oh my God. So I guess it wasn't really a known thing back then. Like YouTube wasn't big.
No, people were
when you were
like to me,
13.
why are you talking to yourself, to a camera?
And look at it
And
now.
I think I don't actually know. Don't know.
You just like doing it. So what would you say to them now that you're like, can you see why I was talking to myself in a camera, guys?
Do one. That's it.
So what actually made you decide at 18 to put yourself back out there onto YouTube?
Well, I started on Instagram and I just
Yeah.
started getting followers and stuff. People would just repost me on pages and I'd get followers that way.
Yeah.
And then the questions started coming in, how do I do my makeup? How do I do my hair? How do I do this? And it was getting hard to reply to everyone because at this point, I don't know, I was probably on like 10k followers around that. So it was getting harder to reply to people. And I thought, I'm just going to show you. And that's how it started off again.
So it all started with makeup then?
Yeah.
Okay. Because makeup's a really big part of your channel now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how do you stay so current when the market is so competitive? Because there's a lot of makeup YouTubers out at the minute.
I can't really say that I do stay current. Like,
Right.
I don't feel like I follow trends.
No.
I like what I like. And, you know, I get a lot of complaints. I get a lot
Really?
Yeah, I get a lot of
Tell
people...
me about the complaints.
I get a lot of people saying, like, use more colour, you need to switch up your looks and stuff. But I just feel like every makeup artist has... Not makeup artist,
Yeah.
anyone that loves makeup.
Yeah.
They all have their own techniques and styles, and how I do mine is how I do mine. I don't really feel like I need to switch it up
Yeah.
because there's other people out there that you can watch for what you want.
And that's what makes you different, I guess.
Yeah.
That you're not following these trends, you're just
Yeah.
kind of doing you.
But I do like to switch it up sometimes. Sometimes I like to use colour, but I like to keep it minimal, really. I'm all about skin.
Yeah. And you're true to yourself, you're staying true to yourself, I guess,
Yeah.
there, aren't you? Did you train in makeup before? Because No.
No.
I'm really shocked at
I
that.
learned everything from YouTube. Everything. So I actually did a beauty therapy course. I
Okay.
did beauty therapy level 2 and 3. There was a makeup course within level 2. But in all honesty, the students were teaching the teachers. It was the
No.
worst brushes, worst makeup. It was awful. I didn't learn anything. Not a thing. Yeah, YouTube.
And when you're watching YouTubers, who do you like to watch? Like, who inspires you to create different looks?
I watch different people for different things. Sometimes I'll say if I wanted to create like a blue eyeshadow look, and I couldn't really think of something of my own, I would probably get like 4 different people that I like and mash it together, like mash the look together. But off the top of my head, who do I like? I don't even know, because not only do I love makeup now, there's a lot of people in fashion that I love now. So there's all these names that are in my head right now.
There's a lot of people in this space right now, but a lot of people creating a lot of different amazing content.
Yeah.
Now, you're very open and honest on your channel.
I try to be.
What made you decide to be so public on your YouTube?
In real life, I'm someone that is happy to talk about a lot of things. ask me a question, and that's how I am. At first, I feel like I was a lot more public. As time's gone on, I feel like I've become a little bit more private. And it's only because sometimes being so honest and public does no favours. So, like, I'm learning to protect myself and learning what I am happy to speak about to the public, and
You recently created a video about girl talk, sex, life. I love that video.
Thank
That was
you.
very honest.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that? Was that a request from a follower?
So I actually saw another YouTuber do it, Sammy Maria.
Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah.
She's a C.
There you
She's
go.
someone
We've got
that
her.
I love. Yeah.
We've got her.
So I saw her do the video. And I was like, that's a good idea for a video. I feel like I want to talk about it. I feel like I've got a lot of young followers that would benefit from it. And these are things that I am happy to speak about in person. Me and my friends speak about sex all the time. Well, not all the time. We've got better things to do.
Not all the time,
But yeah, we speak
it's
about
what you talk
sex.
about with your friends, isn't it?
Yeah, so I just wanted to share like my sort of insight and my opinions or things that I've been through in that video, and it went so well. I was so happy with the response.
Yeah, tell us about the reaction, because I feel like there was a lot of comments asking for a girl talk series.
Yeah.
Jade, is it going to happen?
It is.
It's going to happen.
It should happen.
I can't wait.
I felt super vulnerable when I was making that video. So the nerves are out now. Like, now that I've got the reaction, I know that I've done a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'd like to bring out, another one. But then I wouldn't just want to make it about sex. So I don't really know what other topics. So I'd love some suggestions.
So maybe you need some suggestions.
Yeah.
So to everybody listening that is a fan of Jade, which I'm sure you all are, you need to send some suggestions in on what the girl talk video can be about. More videos can be about.
Yeah.
Now, you also vlogged your birth and your labour experience.
Ooh.
That was a big one. And I actually watched the whole thing.
Did you?
Do you know what?
It's a long-ass video. I applaud you.
It is the first video of that kind that I have ever watched,
Really?
can I tell you. What made you decide to do that?
I'd seen a lot of other people on YouTube
Right.
show their experience. And in my pregnancy, watching other people's experiences was the only thing that kept me going.
Really?
I hated pregnancy. And I know that's like the most
Wow.
awful thing in the world to say.
No, it's not.
But I'm just being honest, I didn't like it. I was ill all the time, 24/7. The only thing I liked was, having my scans, feeling her in my belly and all that. But overall, I couldn't stand it. So because I went through complications at the end of my pregnancy with Ayla, I just wanted to let people know that they're not alone. I felt strange because everyone would speak about how amazing it is to bring a child into this world and how beautiful pregnancy is. And I didn't feel that. I felt depressed.
Right.
And I felt like, why is no one speaking about this? That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I had to look at forums online and people would then speak about it, but then they would always say that they're too embarrassed to speak to their family and friends about it. And I thought, no, I've actually got to speak about this because it's not rainbows and unicorns for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's what made me do it, really.
And we're going to talk about that because I know obviously you went through quite a lot with your birth with Ayla and with the pregnancy, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But what would you say to anybody that might say that those kind of videos are on YouTube for views?
I don't care what they've got to say.
Yeah.
If I wanted views, there's a lot more I could do.
Okay, that's...
There's definitely a lot more I could do. Birth and pregnancy, it's not going anywhere. I'm not the first, I'm not the last. There's thousands, millions, I don't know, videos out there about pregnancy and stuff.
Yeah.
So the whole views things, I'm like, some of my makeup tutorials have got more views than that video, I can do other things.
I think you've explained perfectly there, though, that the message behind that, and I find that really interesting, that was because you went through something that you felt no one else was talking about, so you're sharing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now we're going to go on to an interesting topic.
Go on.
And I feel like a lot of people are dying to know, what is your current relationship status? I want to know, Jade. The listeners want to know.
There is a very important person in my life right now. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, and I'm sure our subscribers are too. Can you tell us anything about him, or are you keeping that completely under wraps?
From my last relationship, I've definitely learned a lot.
Yeah.
My relationship before was very public and, well, I wouldn't say very public, but, you know, people knew about us. And when it came to, like, breaking up, now, I'm not saying that, you know, the person I'm with now, we're going to break up, so that's why I don't want to talk about it or whatever.
Okay.
But in my last relationship, I never thought that me and him would break up either.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't. So when we did break up, it was very, very heartbreaking, and I couldn't deal with that heartbreak in peace because people would be like, what's going on? Where is he? Like, I just felt like I couldn't hurt in peace, you know, how everyone else deals with heartbreak. And, you know, people would say, well, you showed us him, so we deserve to know. And I'm like, mate, like, just because I've shown you good things doesn't mean I want to show you everything that happens, because there's so much bad things that happen that no one has a clue about.
Exactly.
But with this relationship, he's definitely not a secret. All my friends, all my family know. Yeah, so if you know situation, but I don't feel like there'll ever be like, my boyfriend does my makeup videos and things like that. Like, it would never be like that again. And it's not because of him. It's because of just experiences that I've had, and I feel like sometimes the things that you really value don't have to always be out there. Because it is true, like the things that I really value, my family, my friends, him, you know, even my dog, like they're all who I keep to my heart. So I don't always post them sometimes, but yeah.
And how do you feel about when your subscribers and when your fans do want to know? Because it's kind of intrusive. Do you feel that way?
Some people are asking because they really do want to know.
Yeah.
And some people are asking just to be nosy.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's intrusive. I feel like people just want to know.
Yeah. But this is why you're keeping it under wraps. Today Jayde is saying, you know, you're just keeping it chill on the down low for you two.
Yeah.
To keep happy. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and
we wish you all the
happy.
best.
Thank you so much.
Now on to Ayla, your gorgeous daughter. I am obsessed with her, by the way. I am actually obsessed.
I am too.
Well, I bet you are. And I can tell through all your YouTube videos and her Instagram. How do you juggle having your busy lifestyle, juggling Instagram, juggling YouTube, and raising Ayla?
I'm not going to lie. I get a lot of help from my mum.
Amazing.
I went through, after having Ayla, I went through an eating disorder.
Right.
And I became very, very ill. And it got to the point where I was weak and I wasn't able to do much. So my mum sort of stepped in and, you know, was helping around the house, things that I couldn't do because I just wasn't well enough to do it. So my mum helps me a lot. She is at my house all the time, and she's out of work now. She works with me now. But other than that, just try and find balance. I went through a stage where I felt like I was either working too much or I was with Ayla too much. Not that being with Ayla too much is bad, it's just that I knew in the back of my head, I've got all this work to do.
Yeah.
Like, how do we survive? Yeah. So she goes nursery as well.
Yeah.
So there's ways around it. But before that, you know, she was in nursery full time, but I felt guilty about keeping her in nursery full time. I didn't like it, and I knew that she didn't like it full time. She likes it part time, but not full time. So, yeah, I don't know really what I would do without the people around me.
No. Your mum sounds like an amazing woman.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you find your creativity and energy to create all this new content that you're constantly bringing out when you're so busy?
It's not always there.
Yeah.
As a creative, I feel like you can have points where you can't think of anything. I've had it so many times where I can't seem to put an outfit together, or I can't seem to put a look together. And when there is a creative outburst, I just go for it.
Yeah.
I just get as much stuff done as I can. And then at least, like, if I'm having a creative block, I've still got content while I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
And do you think having Ayla has actually impacted not your creativity, but what you're creating? Because do you think you've slowed down at all with what you're posting on YouTube or Instagram? Or
nothing's because of her. YouTube, I've slowed down for other reasons, not to do with her. if anything, there's times where I'm like, oh, I can't bothered, or I just want to give up,
You're
or
human.
things are too much,
Yeah.
or something. And then I look at her and I'm just like, don't be stupid. You have to carry on. Like, you got her.
Yeah.
Got to give her a good life.
And she also features on your channel.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit
sometimes.
about that, because was it a big decision to bring Ayla onto the internet and onto a YouTube channel?
Yeah, definitely, because I feel like the internet's a scary place.
Yeah.
It can be toxic. You can get a lot of creeps and stuff on there. I wanted to put her into baby modelling. I did modelling, not as a baby, but as a child. My sister also did modelling as a child as well. But with our experience, there's a lot of rejection that comes with modelling. So you go to castings and pretty much yeah or no. And as a child, even as an adult, rejection is not easy. So it's like, especially as a child, it's like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why did they pick that little girl or little boy? Yeah, it's not nice. So I kind of don't want her to go through that experience. It does build you up a little bit, but I just feel like if you don't need to go through it, then you don't need to go through it. So I sort of skipped the whole putting her into modelling.
Yeah.
And I created her own Instagram page instead. So I thought, if there is a chance that people would like to work with Ayla, then instead of going through the casting process, because in my experience through this, I've just been booked just because I'm me.
Yeah.
Instead of me having to audition and things like that. And I'd kind of want the same for Ayla, like they're just booking her because she's AA.
Yeah. And what have you got planned for Ayla in your YouTube? Is there any more videos coming? Have you got like a plan of what you want to do?
I've got like a list in
Do
my
you?
diary of like videos that I want to create and stuff.
Tell us about the list. Come on.
There's a big list. I've got like lists of makeup things that I want to create, vlogs that I want to create. A lot of my vlogs are like just day in the life, what I'm doing at home, and I always feel like they're bloody boring. But everyone's like, just film them, like we love it, we want to see Ayla. But I don't like to get her involved too much.
Yeah.
But with the way that social media is, you know, if I can make there's kids in this industry that are making money. So if I can make her a little bit of money, put it in her account, off your pop. I will.
That's it.
Yeah. But I would recommend when she's older, I don't know how social media will be, but I would recommend when she's older for her to not be on it.
Yeah.
I would rather deal with the whatever happens in social media and make good money so that she doesn't have to do it. I'd rather just give her money to start her own business one day, hopefully.
Because that's a whole point in itself there. I'm going to change the subject a tiny bit. When you were pregnant, I think you spoke about it or I read it, that you went through quite a lot of trolling, which I didn't know, and it was due to carrying small.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It was awful. And do you know what? It doesn't usually get me down. Like, what people have got to say doesn't really get me down. You know, I was bullied in school and I've heard a lot about myself. And in all honesty, I've been very horrible to myself. So there's not much that people can say that I haven't already said to myself or whatever. So that was whatever. During pregnancy, it was just the worst because you're fearing the worst, and people would say to you like, I hope your baby dies, like you're carrying way too small, like the baby's never going to make it, things like that. And my heart just broke because it's like you're not even hating, like you're being spiteful, like you're wishing pure evil on somebody for no reason. I don't get it. But yeah, usually it doesn't get to me, but during that time, hormones as well though, innit?
But how dare someone comment on your pregnancy and say such vile things?
Yeah, I mean, everyone carries different. People just don't understand. I honestly think that people think that you can control how pregnancy goes.
And how did you react to that? Did you snap back to anything on, you know, wherever you were getting that hate on social media?
No, not really. There was one picture that I posted like a really long caption saying that the baby was growing fine, like stop all your hate or whatever. And then the next checkup I had, the baby stopped growing in me. So it was like weird because everything was fine. God. And then the next appointment that I had, she wasn't growing fine anymore. Like it was so weird. So I was like, oh, these people were right. Like, maybe she's not going to make it. And the doctors did say, like, it is 50-50 if she makes it or not.
Oh, thank God she did. And with all of that in mind, do you worry about that negativity and the pressures of social media and the dangers of the internet and what that could bring to Ayla from being on the internet?
Yeah, but that's why I would recommend her not to be on it later on in life. At the moment, I'm in control of everything and I see everything. And yeah, when she's old enough to understand things, I definitely recommend not for her to do it. But I'm not going to lie, like, she's a natural in front of the camera.
She
like,
is.
Yeah, she really, really is. So it wouldn't surprise me if she did want to get into this.
Yeah.
But luckily, like, if she did, I've done it.
Yeah.
So
and you've gone through it.
Yeah, hopefully I'd be able to, like, school her through the way. Yeah.
And so you got pregnant at 21?
20.
20?
Yeah, I gave birth at 21.
Was it unexpected to be pregnant at that time? So how was it going through that as a 20-year-old? You know, at the probably, what was it, at the beginning of your career?
Yeah, around it. I was scared. I was really, really, really scared. I remember thinking that this would ruin my career.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it really hasn't.
No, it didn't. But I reached out to brands and this was like within like the first few days of me knowing. I was that scared, because I just wanted to know what the hell I was doing. So I reached out to brands.
Like an answer.
Yeah, and I reached out to brands and I said, look, I'm pregnant. Like, not, I said it in nicer words or whatever, but I was like, I am so scared that this is going to affect my career and I don't want to bring up a child in this world if I'm not going to be making money.
Yeah.
That's not the way I want to do motherhood. I really wanted to keep my career because I love what I do. And every single one of them said it would not affect a thing and that they were very happy for me. And they were right. So...
Amazing.
But in my heart, like, I knew that I was pregnant now. Like, I knew I want to keep the baby, but I also did not feel ready. But all my reasons, I, like, wrote down, like, pros and cons or whatever. And this is a bit of a touchy subject because I know a lot of people are against abortions or terminations or whatever. But honestly, as a young girl, I didn't know what my decision would be. But I wrote pros and cons, and all my cons were very selfish. You know, I can't go out anymore, I can't be spontaneous anymore. Like, nothing was worth losing a baby for.
Yeah.
So that's what sort of made me...
I can imagine it must have been a really difficult time for you. Who did you turn to? Did you have friends and family that you could turn to and speak to about it because you were so young?
Yeah, so her dad was with me when I took the test or whatever, and he was supportive. And then the first person that I rang was one of my best friends, Jess. I have two best friends, Jess and Georgina.
Hi, guys.
Shout out to you. Love you both. But yeah, the first person I rang was Jess, and I FaceTimed her. And I was like, Jess, I'm pregnant. And she said, oh my God, my phone's on 1%. I'll phone you back in 2 seconds. I was thinking, no, not now.
What a time.
And she just rang me back eventually and said, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. I don't have a clue. That's when I started reaching out.
Yeah.
Me and my mum weren't actually talking at the time when... Yeah, we're fine now, absolute best friends or whatever. She was just going through a bit of a rocky time in her life and it sort of affected us. But me and her weren't talking. And I rang her up and she was livid. She was just like, I was like, Mum, what do I do? She's like, I can't make this decision for you. You've got to know. Once I made my decision, she was happy.
She was supportive.
Yeah, she was more upset that I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's what she was upset about. She didn't want me to be in a position where I'm having to choose. But I was. And yeah, but I was so scared to tell my dad.
How did you tell your dad?
He was the last one to know out of everybody. Wow. And I'm so sorry, Dad. He knows that now. I thought he was just going to go mad. Yeah. And he didn't. Actually, what happened was I said, Dad, I've got something to tell you. Everyone was in the living room. Like my dad, I was like, Dad, I've got something to tell you. He goes, you better not be pregnant. And I burst into tears. I said, I am.
Oh my God.
I said, I am. He said, oh, don't cry. And I sat on his lap and he said, everything's going to be fine. I was not expecting that. And that really made me more emotional because I wasn't expecting him to be so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Jay's dad. He sounds amazing.
Shout out to DJ Pierce.
DJ Pierce.
He's
I've not
a
seen him
DJ.
feature on the channel. Is he?
Yeah, he's a DJ.
No way.
He does a bit of house.
Bring him onto the channel. I've not seen him yet.
Oh, mate. He will talk you down.
Really?
Yeah. He's like next level. I'm just like him, really.
Okay, and what advice would you give to anyone who is maybe a young mum trying to juggle running a business or trying to create a business for themselves or a career for themselves?
Don't feel like you do have to have it all figured out. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, especially because of social media. You know, like 20-year-olds want 6-bedroom houses and 5 chihuahuas and like a whole wall of Louis Vuitton bags.
Yeah.
Like, it takes time. And I think, and I like to remind myself of this because I'm somebody that just wants it all now. But like, there's actually something very, very beautiful about the journey that you take. Like when I look back of where I was and like where I am now, I'm not where I want to be now.
Right.
But I'm very, very proud of myself.
You should be.
Yeah. From where I've come from and like how hard I've had to work and saving for, you know, laptop and camera and things like that when I had next to nothing really. Yeah, I'm proud of that.
Be proud of your process.
Yeah, I am. So yeah, just don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
And just try and enjoy it.
And I'm interested, you said you're not where you want to be. Now, I don't know whether that's like career-wise.
I just have an idea of like my end goal. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know. I mean, I've got sort of ideas,
Can you
know.
tell us anything? I'm excited. I can see your
can't.
brain working.
I can't.
Okay.
But there's definitely
There's
things in the
stuff coming.
pipeline, yeah. I just have like an end goal of how I see
and you're going to work to that.
my life. Yeah, I'm definitely going to work to that. Because honestly, I thought where I am now would take... I didn't think I'd be here now at 23. No.
23. Wow.
24
You're
in
smashing
August.
it.
Thank
August,
you.
happy birthday for August. I'm
Thank
sure we'll
you.
shout out to you then. So what is next? What's coming up for the year? What have you got planned in?
There's a lot of secret projects
I'm
that
so
I'm
excited. Can we
working
just
on.
hear one of these secret projects, please?
I actually can't.
They're all too secret. Top secret. Locked away.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're really excited to be working on? Like, you maybe not be able to tell us, but can you tell us what it's about?
What I'm very excited to be working on is something that...
I'm smirking at you. You're looking at me like, stop making... I'm like, tell me, Jade.
It's not a collab with another brand.
Interesting. I'm glad.
It's something from complete scratch.
Amazing. Something of your own?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you spoke about
it?
This
Hasn't
yet?
been solely done on my own.
Yeah.
My partner's definitely... He's definitely
So there's
been that
something
one.
really exciting coming. And when can we expect it, or can you not tell us that?
That we do not actually know. We don't know.
It's not planned out yet.
Yeah. We have like a sort of idea around summer, but then there's also so many other things that we're trying to do, that I'm trying to do as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, things keep getting delayed and stuff. But
Do you think this year?
I should hope so.
Oh, I can't wait.
I should hope so.
And is it going to be a big announcement?
No.
No. Ooh. Has anyone got any guesses in the room? I'm dying to know. I saw you and your mum, I think it was on your Instagram story, doing a little sing-song the other day.
Oh.
And do you know what? You were being really shy and your mum was like, come on, Jade, sing. And you were like having none of it. And then all of a sudden, out trickled this little beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you.
Are there any duets coming with you, for you and your mum? Is it
I'm
happening?
not sure about for me and my mum.
But maybe you.
I don't even know where I've got a little bit of a singing voice. I have no idea where it's come from. My dad cannot sing, but he's a DJ, like he's got music in his blood, you know. My mum, I mean, you heard her.
That's you're definitely the strongest singer. Let's just say that. You are the strongest singer there.
It's something that I'm very shy about. Like, I'm not shy about much, but singing, I just feel like you can go wrong so easy.
Yeah.
And I've never had any singing lessons. I don't even know how to really work my voice. I just sing. It's just something that I can do. Mm-hmm.
So no plans to do anything with it?
I would like to, but the only way, I'm someone that I like to create my own stuff. So if I bring out music ever, I would want to write my own songs or with the help with someone else. But yeah, I wouldn't want a song written and then I'm like singing it or whatever. Like I'd want it to be something that means a lot to me. Yeah.
And do you think you'll ever share any more of your singing on social media before anything ever does come out, if it ever does?
Maybe a snippet.
Oh yeah, give us a little snippet. I want to hear it again. I think we need to hear it a bit more. I'd ask you now, but
oh, you could never put me on the spot.
I can tell you're like, oh, it's just your thing.
It would never happen.
No, I
on
can
the
never
spot.
do that.
I'm the worst. You just have to catch me.
Well, we'll be listening out on all your stories and on your YouTube. Hopefully, we'll hear a little bit more. Jayde, we are going to slide into your DMs. I can't wait. It's going to get very interesting. So, guys, if you would like to slide into Jayde's DMs with us, make sure you click the link below to hear the exclusive part of the podcast.